In our today's video, we're going to be looking at the preparation for SAICA APC 2025 in preparation for the candidates that are writing their final SAICA board exam in order for them to qualify and become CASAs. So what we're going to be doing, we'll be going through the 5-day period in this video, and then in the video following this one, we'll then go through what you need to do during the exam, which is actually the day of the exam, which you'll be writing your final board exam. Now, first thing first, what are the main things that you need to ensure that you're doing during your 5-day period? Number one, your sleeping pattern. Do not change your sleeping pattern. The reason you do not need to change your sleeping pattern, it is because this is a work simulated exam. So you are expected to use your sleeping pattern that you have been using throughout the year. And the reason you need to do that is to ensure that you do not burn out during the day of the exam or closer to the day of the exam. It's to ensure that you are able to respond to the question that the examiner will be asking from you, and you respond in a manner expected of a newly qualified CSA, as in the main exam you will be assumed to be a newly qualified CSA. So what do I mean by that? If you normally wake up at 5 and sleep at 9, do not change that pattern. Stick to that pattern of waking up at 5 a.m. and sleeping at 9 p.m. Even on the day that you are expecting to receive your pre-release, I know that pre-release sometimes comes before 8 a.m. Do not wake up at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. just to check whether SAICA has emailed that pre-release information for you, right? And then the second part, it's the competitor. Most candidates spend so much time trying to figure out who is the competitor of the information that is provided to you. You do not need to know the competitor on the first day. Even during the 5-day period, you can still pass the exam without even knowing who is the competitor of the case study that has been provided to you. Now, what do you know about the first day, or what's going to happen on the first day of that 5 days? You will receive your pre-release from SAICA, and what will be on that pre-release that you receive from SAICA? It is basically the company or the fictitious company information. And that fictitious company information, you'll be provided everything you need to know about that company and the industry as such, right? And then once they've provided you the background information of the company, which covers the financials of the company and the board of directors, as well as all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats faced by that company, they will then give you what we call triggers. So what you need to do with triggers is what you need to prep yourself for before you go and write on the day of the exam. Now, what do you do then once you have received this pre-release information, which you make assumption that it will be out by 8 a.m. is SAICA make assumption that they will provide it to you by 8 a.m. When you receive the information, read it for the first time without using any highlighter or pen. Just read to understand whether the information that you have been provided, you can digest and you can understand what it's all about. Second time, read the information. Now you are reading the information with the highlighter on the pen, highlighting the most fundamental things or the important thing that you believe you need to highlight. Then again, read for the third time, which will be the last time before you analyze the information. Now you're reading without the highlighter, neither the pen. Try to see that when you read the first time and the second time, you did not miss any fundamental or important thing that you needed to know. Now, once you're done reading, what we can expect to be part of your case study. In your case study, as I've already stated, you're expecting that they will tell you the most information that relates to the issues the company is facing, their strength, where are they good at, or where they are excelling at. They will tell you what are the issues that most industry most companies in that industry is facing, and what more they can leverage on in that industry, right? So now you analyze all those information and you summarize that information on a certain document or just one document. Now, the second thing that you will find is the board of directors. They'll give you information about the board of director, and what you need to do when you have this information about the board of director, you need to therefore analyze the information about the board of director in order to ascertain whether the company is doing the operation in line with King 4. One person will ask, why am I worried about whether the company is doing things in line with King 4? Because this is a private company. Even though the company is a private company, it is recommended that they do take into consideration the King 4 recommendation. Remember, this is a recommendation. So that recommendation, either you're a public company or a private company, it is a good thing that you follow the recommendation. You need to do an analysis of that, because that might be useful for you in order to answer any qualitative question that might arise in the exam. And then the last part, which might be the most important thing, is that they might give you information about the company performance in terms of finances. So they will give you information, for example, about the company's statement of financial position, statement of profit and loss, as well as maybe the cash flow and the statement of changes in equity. When you are provided that information in your case study, you need to analyze that information in order to see whether the information that is presented to you, it is showing that the company is healthy, meaning to say it is progressing from the previous years, or it is showing that the company is regressing from the previous year. So now, what are the issues of the company's regressing, and what are good things of the company's progressing? So if the company's financials are showing that it is doing well compared to the previous years, it basically shows that that company that you are looking at can go out and borrow money, right, and expand the business further. It means that it also can go and sell some of their shares, privately if possible, to get more money. So it means that the company is operating in a proper manner in such a way that they are able to move from strength to strength. But now, what if the company is not doing well? So if the company is not doing well, it's simply mean that you're gonna be asked what they can do in order to perform well. And you need to prep yourself to be in the position to be able to understand how you can assist the company in situations that the company is not performing well. So remember, at this time, at this point, which is day 1, you are not doing further information. You are just analyzing the company performance year on year. You're just analyzing the compliance, or whether they are working in line with the recommendation of the king, and you're also looking the SWOT analysis of the company. I want you to understand that this is not what you're most likely going to be asked by SAICA. And the reason I'm saying that question cannot come as a question, because that question, it is at honors level and lower. However, those things, or performing those analysis, will be very helpful or fundamental for you in order to answer the questions, and that will be part of your exam. Now you have read the background information, you have ascertained the board of directors, you've ascertained the strength and the weakness, the opportunity and threats of the industry, and also you've looked at the financials. Now, what are you going to be looking at now? You're going to be looking at the documents that have triggers. So the documents that have triggers, they normally come from your document number B going forward. Now, when you look at each of those documents, you want to understand what are you gonna be asked, right? So first thing is, you find out that in the first question, the board of director or the CFO wants to know how are they going to work on certain new products they wanna include in the business. Maybe they'll say they want to include this product in their product line, and as they want to include this product in their product line, they are not too sure which accounting principles or which accounting standard they need to take into account. They probably want you to also analyze the tax for that particular particular product, right? Then as you go through, you write the standard applicable, maybe it's IFRS 15 and International Accounting Standard 2. Then the tax that you need to focus on, maybe it's VAT or income tax. You do not do further research. It is your day one. So in your day one, you do not need to do any further research. Then you go to the document, older document, and then you just say, for this document, I need to do an assessment of this standard, or I need to take into account of this qualitative and quantitative matters, or those pros and cons of this thing that the board wants to embark on. Once you are done with all of that, then you get ready to go meet your team, preferable between 1 to 3 p.m. Then when you meet your team, you guys gonna read. Once you've done reading, then you're gonna okay, sit down and reanalyze now with the team in order to ascertain that whatever that you have gathered during your own time before 1 p.m., it is in line with what your team have also gathered. If not, you try to brush up where the discrepancies are sitting. Once you've brushed up all the discrepancies, and then you decide which triggers you're going to start with and then which one you're going to end with. So the triggers that you should start with, preferable, should be the triggers that you guys believe are the hardest while you're still fresh, and then those that you feel like they're light, you're going to do closer to the end. On day 4, you should be done with all your triggers. Then you sit down and ask yourself, which triggers did you each find to be harder? And then you reinterpret together. Remember, candidates, every day you meet your team members, preferable 1 to 3. You meet them and discuss the triggers until the 4th day. On the 4th day, you are brushing all the triggers so that on the 5th day, you have the time to look at your triggers and read, summarize, and then print only the information that you believe you need in your exam. That takes us to the 5-day period. I'll move to what you're supposed to be doing on the day of the exam on the separate video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.